Welcome back to the podcast. Today is Friday, January the 2nd. We're back for the podcast.
We're back, boys. We're here. We're talking. We're doing sports. We're here together. That's something I didn't think we were going to get done because, Jason's moving right now. He has a lot going on. But we have a bunch of NFL football to talk about today.
Big loss.
No, it's NFL football. Nothing's really happened yet. Don't know. What are you talking about? I'm here to talk about NFL football today. We have Week 18 coming up, and there's a lot of football to go on. My Steelers might lose.
Was it left or right that it was missed?
Well, I don't know what you're talking about. I really don't.
Two interceptions is crazy.
2 interceptions? What are you talking about? What do you mean? I need you to spell this out for me because I literally have no idea what you're talking about. I'm here to talk about NFL football today. Nothing else has happened this week.
Let me say it like this: you will not be going back to back.
I know the Steelers never win one, let alone 2.
The Ohio State.
Oh,
lost.
Well, damn. I
17.
Look,
about 20-something to 14?
No, 24-17. No, sorry, no. 27-17.
Oh, now you remember. When I
look,
remember.
Brody. Look, Brody. I wasn't totally happy about what happened, okay? It was 24. No, it was 24-14. Yes. That was the score because we was 14-17 and then we let them score. Okay. We let them score a touchdown after that. I'm not crazy, am I?
No.
Okay, well, I got 24-14. Yes, that was the score. So this is like, all right, you pulled it out of me. Honestly, if you really wanted to, I was just going to go ahead and just not even talk about college football because there's really nothing to talk about. Well, there is. Because, again, I talked about some of this pod.
It's like the biggest upset ever.
I talked about this a lot on the last pod, so there's no way I was going to totally get away from it. But it was a good bit while it lasted for the first 40 seconds of me trying to deny that what happened didn't happen.
What happened?
Are you going to make me say it?
Absolutely.
I guess we're going to start with it. The college football did happen this week, unfortunately. I was there to watch it.
We can start with Ole Miss, Georgia.
No, let's just get it out of the way. I talked about it last pod.
Let's start with something else. Let's start with Ole Miss, Georgia.
Okay. Well, we'll go most recent to least recent. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ole Miss, Georgia played yesterday. There was 3 games that happened yesterday on New Year's Day.
Real quick, how are you the only game that didn't happen on New Year's?
I again, with the stat that I have recently read, it makes me even more upset. 'Cause I'm just like, there should be literally, you should like just pick where you want to go. And Ryan Day should never want to play on New Year's Eve ever again.
But he's going to.
Yeah, probably. But so this is where we're at. 3 games were played yesterday, all on New Year's Day. There was 1 game played on New Year's Eve. We will start with the 3 New Year's Eve games, and then we'll get to the pied de resistance where Jason's going to have the most to say about it last.
Indiana wins the national championship, right?
At this fucking point, I don't care. I really don't. I'm gonna, honestly, I'd be happy with either one of the Big Ten schools winning the national championship.
2 Big Ten schools?
Oregon and Indiana. I'd be cool with that, and they do have to play each other in the semifinals. So I'm cool with either one of them winning the championship. I really
think Ole Miss does it without Lincoln.
That'd be the funniest thing, but I don't want to hear about the SEC talk about their superiority because even a school that's like the 3rd best can go win the national title because the SEC is so great. I don't want to hear that. I hate that just as much as about anything. But
I think Ole Miss is a well-built school.
Oh no, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying the SEC likes to claim every team because here's the thing: when the Big Ten schools, there's not a lot of like unity in the Big Ten, right? Every school, every fan for their own school is fans of their own schools, and they don't give a fuck about anybody else, right? In the SEC, they like to claim all SEC schools, their fans like to claim the SEC because guess what they get to do? They get to claim conference superiority in a conference they get to belong in, while at the same time knowing they were all getting butt fucked by Nick Saban and then Kirby Smart for the last 20 years. So and then LSU a couple times they got involved and got to have some fun.
Like every 5 years.
Yeah, but everybody else got their asses fucked, and then they were like, "Hey, SEC superiority, we're here. We get to be a part of the party." But no, they like to claim it all because SEC just means more. In the Big Ten, we don't have that. Like, there is no Big Ten like we Big Ten against everybody else. It's SEC. They kind of have it locked down
because half the teams in the Big Ten are dog shit.
Half of the teams in the SEC were dog shit comparison to the teams that were actually winning it.
But again, Ohio State and the rest of us.
Okay, Michigan. You have to include Michigan. They have won a title recently.
Mm-hmm.
But it still doesn't. Like, again, I'm just talking about the conference affiliation part. Trying to take because Northwestern fans aren't happy when Ohio State wins a national championship.
And they're heated.
They don't give a fuck about the Big Ten. Like they don't. Like SEC, they still, even though they're like, oh, my team didn't get anywhere close, at least somebody from the SEC is that won it, so we can claim that, oh, the SEC is the best conference in the country in college football. Like that's what I don't understand. That's the argument they like to make. That I don't like. I hate that argument because those are for idiots. If Bama wants to say how they dominated college football for 20 years with Nick Saban at the helm, cool. You guys earned that, and now the Nick Saban ain't there no more. You guys are experiencing a much different world. Heck, Georgia, even though, fun fact about Kirby Smart, because we're about to talk about that game next, Kirby hasn't won a college football playoff game in a couple years now. He hasn't won one since he won a national championship. Hilarious. But again, I have my own downs to talk about today. But yeah, so I just don't like the conference superiority thing. So anybody in the Big Ten winning it would be nice. And I don't want Miami fans to win the national championship because they're stupid and I hate their guts. And they really don't even show up to their team's games until they kind of are good. And they're like, oh, now we want to show up and have fun and act like we're the U. We've been here forever. And like, really, you haven't. Because I remember during the game, you were talking about how like there was talk about how many 10-win seasons have happened since 2002. And then you saw there was like for Miami, it's been like two times in the last 23 years. And Ohio State's been like over like 10 or 15. So, okay, let's get to the first. And now that I'm off of that, get to the first game to talk about, or last game. Ole Miss, Georgia. This was probably the most fun game to watch. If you're just like a pure going into the game, just go ahead and watch it. 39-34, Ole Miss Rebels won this game over the Georgia Bulldogs off of a game-winning field goal. And then they also added a 2-point. They also added a safety afterwards because Georgia was trying to do some crazy stuff off the kickoff return. So they ended up getting another safety on top of it, so they won the game by 5. But really, it was off of game-winning field goal. It must be nice that those people in Mississippi can get a field goal kicker that can hit a big field goal to win a game and/or from a good distance. Something I haven't really experienced in 4 or 5 years now. So, good for Ole Miss. They got to experience that. But this was a game very fun to watch, back and forth kind of affair. It honestly looked like in the first half, it was Ole Miss was up like 12-7, and then Georgia scored like 21 points there to look like they were going to take control of this game. And then in that second half, it took Ole Miss to kind of explode in that fourth quarter to score 20 points to Georgia's only scoring 10. And it looked like Ole Miss got a good lead there, and then Georgia managed to come back and kind of get to the point where it was tied again. And then it was like Ole Miss had like 50 seconds left to go down the field and get a field goal, something Ohio State doesn't do, which is crazy how they just don't do it with enough time. It's just like, do you know what was sobering in this game? Two great teams going at it. Great offense. Both teams were just throwing haymakers back and forth.
Yeah.
Something I didn't get to experience this week when it came to my Ohio State Buckeyes. Trinidad Chambliss, I think, and I'll get to the point that I wanted to make comparing these quarterbacks to what I experienced with my quarterback. Trinidad Chambliss for Ole Miss, 362 yards, 30 of 46, 2 touchdowns. Gunnar Stockton, the quarterback for Georgia, 18 of 31, not as efficient, but 200 yards, a touchdown. I think he also added a couple touchdowns on the ground as well. So even he came to play and had a very good game. I think this is a fun game to watch. I think this was Georgia. Kirby Smart hasn't won a college football playoff game since he last won a national championship 2-3 years ago now. So Ole Miss was the better team that last night. They played great. Their offense, here's what I'll say. Their defense is pretty much non-existent. Defense is fine, but against teams of like talent, their defense is going to get torched like it did against Georgia last night. But it doesn't matter when you let your quarterback go insane like he did last night, and he took advantage of the moment that he had. And not to mention, not just him, but Kawan Lacey, their running back, 22 carries, 98 yards, 2 touchdowns. So they were able to run the football as well as pass it with Trinidad Chambliss. And they just got after it. Their one wide receiver, Harrison Wallace, and this is hilarious because he was a former Penn State wide receiver who he ended up transferring there from like Toledo or something, and Penn State couldn't use him at all. And Harrison Wallace is balling out for Ole Miss, 9 catches, 156 yards and a touchdown. Dejon Stribling had 122 yards and 7 catches. So I love being able to watch these quarterbacks go back and forth. Trinidad Chambliss was awesome. Mr. Why am I forgetting his name? Lane Kiffin, former coach at Ole Miss, now the current coach at LSU. Now letting his offensive coaching staff members go and coach for at Ole Miss during this run. You know what's funny is that they're saying that it's no guarantee that he's going to let those guys that are coaching for Ole Miss on borrowed time, if he's actually going to let them keep coaching for Ole Miss or not. There might be a time he's just going to call them up saying, hey, I need you here now. Leave them in the dust, which is a hilarious option to think about. Because think about it this way, is that Lane Kiffin is not a likable person by people he's worked with or players he has coached. And the fact that he showed up to that first Ole Miss game in the playoffs, showed up for 15 minutes, had a spot on television, and then left right after. You can see him getting on the plane while the game was still going on. So he acted like he was there to support Ole Miss, and he's like, I'm so happy for those kids and all of that. And he only stayed there for 15 minutes just to leave them to try to go back to LSU. And then now you see him after this game tweeting the Ole Miss Rebel flag, and I'm like, dude, you're trying to fake like you actually care about these kids, like long term, and actually care about them winning and are happy about that. No, you don't give a fuck. Honestly, I could see a world where he was happy to see them win the first game. But if they go and have a long playoff run without him, he'll be more pissed about that than if they would have lost and not lost the first game altogether, because he likes to take all the credit, and that's the type of guy that he is. And so I do like the idea that Ole Miss has gotten as far as they have, and they did what he couldn't do against Georgia this year and actually won the game without him. And that's actually, that is a funny part. I don't want them to win the national championship like we were talking about earlier, but it is a very funny thing to see Lane Kiffin have to kind of eat his heart out a little bit, knowing that he won't be, if they win the national championship or get really far, he will have no fingerprints in that other than the fact that he was gracious for a little bit and let his offensive coaching staff go back and coach Ole Miss so they had a chance to, have a good offense coming into playing these games. It was a fun game. Seeing these kickers actually hit kicks made me feel very sad, especially that game winner, man. That was like a big kick and a big moment. Haven't been able to see that myself in my own team. So it was a very nice game to watch. Next game, you have Alabama, Indiana. Indiana torched the fuck out of Alabama, 38-3. Bama did not belong in this game.
I expected this one. I expected Indiana just to rip Alabama a new one, though.
I thought Indiana was going to win convincingly, but 38-3.
I thought they'd make it close.
Alabama didn't have any pride. It felt like they didn't. It felt like traffic cones could have played better overall than what Bama played.
For his head. After a game like that, Nick Saban wouldn't have lost that game. Is the first thing.
Here's the better question: Michigan fans were waiting on him to potentially want to go coach at Michigan. Do you think he regrets not giving Michigan a little bit of a heads up, like, hey, if things don't go right here, I may want to take a call and see what you guys have to say? I'm just saying, like maybe he should have given him a little bit of like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, like hold on a little bit longer. But apparently Kyle Whittingham, the coach from Utah, saw the opportunity and took it, so Michigan couldn't wait any longer. But it was hilarious because they did not, Ty Simpson came into this game. He ended up getting hurt, had to leave the game. I think it was like a back injury or something like that. 12 of 16 for 67 yards. His backup that then came in, 11 of 16 for 100 yards. And then Daniel Hill had one throw. He was 1 of 1. But they couldn't run the football. They had 23 total rushing yards in this game. I do have to mention Ryan Williams. He did have 6 catches, though, 53 yards. Wow. He did something. Usually he only comes out with 1 catch. But Indiana absolutely dominated. Fernando Mendoza, 14 of 16, 192 and 3 touchdowns. He didn't even have to throw it all over the place. He was just very efficient with the throws that he had, and he did what he had to do. They ran the football for over 200 yards in this game. Totally outmuscled Alabama. And here's the thing. This is what gives me a little bit of solace, is that they throttled Alabama like this. The team that has given Indiana the closest battle is us. And you have to mention Penn State, because Penn State kind of did have it close. But we stopped their offense from scoring points. So I do have to give a little bit of – there's a little solace for me in that. They ran the football like crazy. Couple running backs with 99, 89 yards and a touchdown apiece. You're out of energy? Yeah, I got you. It's been a long day. I'm trying to power through this. Charlie Becker.
That this drink here, I don't want to say the name because, this drink here only has 114 milligrams of caffeine.
Oh, not a lot.
No, not at all. I eat fucking gummies after the gym with more caffeine than that.
A little bit, couple sips of that. Has more caffeine?
Nah. Real quick, that's the other thing.
Caffeine. It doesn't say. Or I just can't read. One of the two.
Our mother told me I probably need reading glasses. I've been struggling to see words from far away.
Oh, boy. That's not good. But while you read that, so Bama totally got throttled. Indiana absolutely did their thing. And I'm kind of rooting for them.
34.
Okay.
That's actually a fair bit of caffeine for a Coke.
Yeah, for just a can. Yeah, for sure. But no, I'm actually happy for Indiana to do this thing. Does this lead to them being like an industrial power? Maybe.
No,
possibly.
No,
I'm saying it does.
Probably fucking not.
I'm not gonna be the guy to talk ill of Kurt Cignetti anymore, because he has taken them a lot farther than anybody has in a very long time. So if somebody were to tell me Kurt Cignetti has some magician-like powers and he's able to do this to this team, I would totally believe it, because this is what it is. So Indiana absolutely did their thing. I'm happy that they did so, because I hate Alabama fans the most, because if Bama would have went on and win the national championship after all this, what?
Oh, it's a fuck ton of sugar that's in these.
Ooh.
That's why I'm feeling so hyped.
There you go. Bama fans don't deserve to have any sort of happiness, especially after all of it that they had with Nick Saban. They don't even know how good they had it. And I'm glad that Indiana got to teach them a lesson to where their team didn't even look like they did not belong on the same field as Indiana, which is a very cool thing to be able to say about Alabama. Their fans and their team is that your team did not belong on the same field as the Indiana Hoosiers.
Coconut's a dog shit flavor.
Yeah, that's not great. I'm not a big coconut guy myself.
Sorry.
I was very, very happy to see that. And that's all, honestly all I have about the game. It was pretty much a slog fest from the start. Indiana got ahead, and it just wasn't close.
I expected this game to be closer.
I expected
Alabama to lose.
Kalen DeBoer is supposed to be an offensive genius, and you scored 3 points.
Dude,
Again, Indiana's awesome, and they are.
They are, but I have not seen the offensive genius from him all year.
The 2 games they've had against Georgia, that's it.
Yeah.
Those are the only 2 games. And Kirby is now taking a step back, too, when it comes to what he's doing at Georgia. So maybe this is a whole referendum on both of those schools and where they're at right now. Kirby, it's a little bit weirder with Georgia because they still have their head coach. And Bama, you don't have Nick Saban anymore, and now you're down here with the rest of the mortals. And actually maybe a little bit lower than what you thought you were going to be with Kalen DeBoer now as your head coach. So it was very fun to see Indiana absolutely beat the dog shit out of Alabama. It was awesome. Next one, Oregon, Texas Tech. Oregon wins the game 23-0. And this was a domination from every sense of the word. It kind of felt like for most of this game that Texas Tech was struggling to get past the 50-yard line. They could not really do anything to get into Oregon's side of the field. A couple interceptions thrown by Texas Tech's quarterback. And honestly, this was Oregon kind of like... It felt like Oregon went all out in this game, but it almost felt like they didn't have to turn all the way on. Dante Moore, 26-33, 234 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 1 pick. They ran the football for 2 touchdowns. And then there's a bunch of field goals that were hit. That was what this game ended up being. So Oregon didn't even have to really go all out in this game, and they pretty much had control of it from start to finish. They ran the football for 64 yards total. This was just Texas Tech. Oregon's defense suffocated the life out of Texas Tech, and they really could not do anything in this game whatsoever. And I have to say, I'll give Texas Tech's defense a little bit of credit, because Oregon usually is a team that they're going to want to score a lot of points first before they start kind of letting go of the throttle. But Texas Tech's offense did not show up so bad, is that in their defense kind of held on enough to where Oregon didn't necessarily go and score 40 points on their head. But again, after halftime, it got to a point where like Oregon was throwing in their second and third strings, getting close to the fourth quarter. Like they were just kind of running out the clock because there was no chance that Texas Tech had a chance to get back in this game. So another game where, and do I think that there's that big of a difference between Oregon and Texas Tech? Probably. But I do maybe there's a little bit of credit to the idea that maybe not playing a game in that 20-something days is a little bit of a hindrance to some of the teams that have to get that bye in comparison to the Oregon team, the teams that come in having already played a game of such a big caliber. Again, I can't say that because Ohio State and Oregon had a similar layoff, and Oregon came out and did their thing. Ohio State and the teams that had the bye didn't do so. Indiana, they took care of their business, so I can't use that as an excuse for everybody because it comes down to, is your team ready to go and play that night? And unfortunately, Texas was not ready to play it yesterday when that game had started. Next and final game, I guess the game we were all waiting on, Jace was waiting on. This is the New Year's Eve. I do have to give a little credit. They pulled back the starting time of the game, started a little bit earlier. So there was no chance of the midnight happening and having to battle for, do we want to see the ball drop? And then trying to see the end of a football game. So I do have to give them that credit that they got the game started earlier, so that was not a problem in this game. Miami won the game 24-14 against Ohio State. I thought Ohio State was going to win this game.
Against the Ohio State University.
Yes, Miami won the game against the Ohio State University. What to say? Do we start with the winners or the losers? Let's start with the winners, and then we'll end with the losers. Carson Beck, as much as I talk about how he looks like Sid the Sloth, which everybody does, it's not just a me thing. 19 of 26, one touchdown. He had 138 yards. I will say
that nigga's fucking ugly.
Yes, he is. And here's what I'll give Carson Beck a lot of credit for. He showed a lot of poise. Even when all the madness was happening, you can tell he has been a guy that's played for 5 years. And I think I did not give potentially enough credit to that idea. And heck, I was a guy that benefited from that idea last year with Will Howard playing 4 years at Kansas State. 3 or 4 years at Kansas State before he came and played for Ohio State last year, and then turned it on in the playoff, totally became a monster, and led Ohio State to the championship last year. Carson Beck in that game ran the offense, did what was asked of him, didn't make the big mistake. And when stuff was going on and he had to get a couple extra yards and go get a first down, he did in the third quarter. Actually, no, third or fourth quarter, where Miami was up and they were trying to take away some clock and just try to run the football. There was a 3rd and 10. He went and ran the football, got some tough yardage and got 11 yards and got the first down that kind of kept the offense moving. He made the throws that he had to make. And I have to give him that credit because I've been a guy that's saying how if you get after him and kind of spook him a bit, he's going to make the mistake, and he did not do that in this game. Again, you have to put that on Ohio State a little bit because I felt like they did not blitz enough. I felt like they did not get a lot of inner pressure not get a lot of inside pressure on him to make him. And they did leave those lanes open for him to run through, and I do have to say that is an issue. And next thing, it was 2 picks. I totally forgot. So that I have to give Carson Beck a lot of credit for. Mark Fletcher, the running back, he ran for a lot of tough yards. He had 90 yards in this game. I think they gave the ball to him like 19 times. He did great. Shamar Brown, the backup, he only had 5 carries, 26 yards, but he had a touchdown. Carson Beck, like I said, he carried the ball 7 times, 23 yards. Again, on one of those runs, he had the 11-yard run that literally almost sealed the deal for Miami and the with it game was going. Receiving the ball, Malachi Toney didn't. Here's the thing. He made some big plays when they absolutely needed it in short yardage, but he did not get a bunch of big plays like I thought was the only way they were going to play offense in this game. He had 5 catches, 16 yards. Mark Fletcher had a touchdown catch. He had on the little running back wheel route, a play that has killed us over the last couple of years against Texas last year. Texas did it twice for 2 touchdowns, and it didn't kill us because we ended up beating them in the end. But seeing those wheel routes happen, and one of them happened with Arvell Reese being the linebacker that's supposed to cover the running back, and he was a little bit late to it. One on the touchdown, and then the other was on a 3rd down and 3 The running back just went, and Arvell Reese got too close to the line of scrimmage, and then he got rubbed. He got picked off of it, and then he wasn't able to get there in time, and that was a third down conversion that led to them being able to bleed out the clock a lot when Ohio State was down, and they were trying to get a chance to get the ball back to be able to have a chance to win the game. Also, Malachi Toney, in that game, he ended up getting a catch once, and Caleb Downs hit him so hard the ball got fumbled out, and then the ball bounced right back into his hands, and he went and picked up a few extra yards to give him a chance to go get a first down that then took more time off the clock. Sometimes I do have to give sometimes this credit is that sometimes it takes the universe to kind of lean things towards your direction in a way when you're trying to go on a run and go do something special. Last year, the big thing that kind of the ball bounced our way was Captain Jack sacking Quinn Ewers, knocking the ball out of his hand. Ball bounces right up to him, and then he's able to take it all the way back to the house. And that was almost like the crowning moment of oh, this is really our year, right? The ball did not bounce Ohio State's way last night. It bounced Miami's way, and guess what? At the end of the day, you have to be fucking ready to take advantage of the moment. And Miami was, and Ohio State was not ready for the. The coaching staff did not put Ohio State ready for the moment.
I thought you were talking about that one phone, but I can say that dude got his bell rung by Caleb Downs,
and he was hurting
still
afterwards.
Had the wherewithal to turn and go get the ball.
Yeah,
he got his shit fucking rocked. They replayed it. Whoa.
Yeah. Caleb Downs was hitting hard last night. Nothing.
He was, dude.
That game, Caleb Downs played his ass off, by the way, last night.
He
caused two fumbles.
He has shown
2 fumbles.
Hey, I'm a top 5 pick.
Yes, he is.
That I hope to God the Bengals lose.
And that was the sad part. That was the last time I could see Caleb Downs in an Ohio State uniform. It was a little sad.
Hopefully here soon you'll see him in a Bengals uniform.
No. You know what? I could at least if you can get some joy out of him, I would be happy to see that.
If he is drafted by the Bengals, I'm gonna buy a fucking Caleb Downs jersey.
I would be happy to buy you a Caleb Downs jersey.
That's the best defensive player I've seen since fucking Jesse Bates.
He's so good, man.
He's awesome.
He's right all the time. He's there to make the plays. He's great.
I can't that one instance. I'm gonna give that dude credit because that was a true freshman. That was 12. The true freshman.
Huh?
That was their wide receiver.
Malachi Toney.
Yeah, that was who you hit.
He's number 10.
My bad. Again, I didn't watch that hard.
Yeah, I know.
He was blown the fuck up.
He was,
and he immediately ran to that
wherewithal, and it bounced right into him, and he got to grab it,
and then got blown the fuck up.
A couple extra yards, blown up, and then he still held on to the football that time.
He did, and he rolled over and laid on the ground.
And he ended up going to the medical center after that, and then. But here's the thing: it wasn't like he tore up the game, but in these moments where he had to make the plays, he made them.
The plays.
And guess what? Miami found other ways to
get him involved.
Just other ways to win the game offensively. When pretty much the whole year, Malachi Toney was the only source of their offense. And here's the thing: am I going to blame the Ohio State defense?
No, they played their asses off.
Ohio State held them to 17 points because my quarterback Julian Sayin spotted them 7 by throwing the pick 6 that he threw. Do have to put one source of blame I can put on Jeremiah Smith was on that play. If he would have stayed in front of the guy a little bit, because the dude just ran right around Jeremiah, and Jeremiah didn't even try to block him, didn't try to do anything, and the guy ran right around him and kind of went stream towards the screen, took the ball and ran all the way back to the house. But Ohio State's defense did what they had to do in this game. They couldn't get the stop at the end. That sucked. That was the only bad part, because for all year they had been the best defense in the country, and it sucked in the big moment. And we just needed one more stop. They couldn't get it, but again, they did enough in that game to where Ohio State should have been able to win. But yeah, Miami did great. They played their defensive line caused so much havoc in our backfield for Julian Sayin. I have to give him a lot of credit for that, because I was the one to be like, oh, they're just big and strong and fast. Guess what? Against young players like our right guard that was making his first start in a Buckeye uniform, that was a problem. And those defensive ends, Ruben Bain and Mesidor,
they were good.
They were great
at
stopping the run
him.
too. And stopping the run
they
too.
They were very, very good at baiting him into making a bad decision, of pulling off. They would throw. I noticed they were using one really big defensive tackle and then a smaller, a little more flighty defensive tackle.
Mm-hmm.
And their plan was to what was one guy's name?
Ruben Bain?
Yes. The plan was to run him towards their your center.
Mm-hmm. They did stunts. They kind of like did twists, and they were they're doing a little bit of that
to get that guard to go towards the center to help.
Yeah,
leaving your right tackle alone.
Again,
facing a guy that's too fast.
A brand new right guard that hadn't made a real first start yet. He didn't have a great game.
They got real good at baiting him into things in that first quarter.
In that first half.
Like
the
first half. Like the first sack they got on him, they baited his ass.
Yeah.
Then again, your tight end was supposed to like chip block.
Running backs too. Our running backs didn't do great at blocking in that first half either. The second half they figured it out a little bit.
Your tight ends were really bad.
Yeah.
The first sack that they gave up, it was like a 10, 15-yard loss.
Yeah.
Of your tight end was supposed to chip block, didn't block him at all.
And that is one thing I do have to go on Julian Sand. He did turn a lot of like 5-yard sacks into 10 15-yard sacks.
He's holding the ball really fucking
It wasn't even just like he's holding it. It was almost like
just, the dudes are coming.
Sometimes you got to know when to be done. Like, hey, I
don't know. The idea that there was a couple.
If you're 6'5", you can hold on that long.
And he's wrapped, but Julian Sand's still upright. Bro, just launch that bitch out of bounds.
Again, sometimes he wasn't out of the tackle, out of the pocket. But here's the thing: sometimes you just got to know when to fold it. And you're not. If you were 6'5", you can try to do that because you're a bigger guy that can get away from these dudes. He's 6 foot, 6'1", just around 200 pounds. Like he's not. He did make some good like trying to extend the plays, but it wasn't enough, and that's on him. And let me get to the losers. Right, the biggest loser in this game was the offense because Ryan Day with Brian Hartline leaving. There was a lot. You can just tell there was a lot, especially with the Indiana game and then now coming into this game. The offense was not totally right. Ryan Day said he was going to take over the sticks and call the plays. And because he felt like taking that off of Brian Hartline's plate was going to be the best way to make sure that everybody was going to be able to do what they had to do and the offense would be ready to go. He did not have the offense ready to go. I would say that Julian Sand played better than he did in the Indiana game. In the first half, they just got after him so much, the offensive line just could not give him any time. There was the one, before he threw that pick six, though, I do have to say this. Before he threw that pick six, on the play where he ended up getting sacked, the tight end was wide open, and he got off of it too quick and then totally left him, tight end streaming right in the middle of the field. If he just would have thrown it, he would have got a touchdown, and then it turned into a pick six after that's a 14-point swing. And technically taking away a field goal, but again, our kicker would have to make a field goal. So that part sucks. So Julian Sand, 22 of 35, 287, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. He gave him spotted him the 7 with the bad pass. Would I have liked for him to see that streaming defensive player? Yeah, for sure. But it's a quick read. They say throw the football. It's on Jeremiah Smith to make sure that defender doesn't get around you. But otherwise, I think Julian Sand did fine. I think Julian Sand's biggest problem in this game, and I take it back to Trinidad Chambliss. I'm watching him and Gunnar Stockton play in that game. And I also quoted thinking like Joe Burrow, and I watched some of the guys in the NFL. When you've played a lot of games and you know what you're doing and you end up, heck, I even say C.J. Stroud in that last game against Georgia, you get to a point where you've had enough starts. It's almost like your talent gets to take over and you get to go and play free. And when Julian's, and it comes with a calmness and it comes with like a confidence in chaos that you can figure it out and go out there and make enough plays to get out of some situations. And I think that's one thing Julian Sand, as talented as he is, I think in these last 2 games has shown that when things start getting loud, when it comes to the pocket and there's things going on around him, that he does turtle up a bit. I'm not saying he shuts down, but he does turtle up. And he doesn't necessarily rise to the moment as much as I would like him to, especially not by comparison to I think that he's not able to. I think it's based off his talent. Based off the talent I think he has, I think he can reach a totally different level. And I think having these moments this year of going through the 14 starts that he had made, I think he'll be a better quarterback going into next year because of it. But I do think that's one thing he needs to figure out is finding a way to, when things get loud, keep it calm in his own brain so he can just be at a level like the assassin mentality.
Yes, and I agree. But again,
14 starts in, it's hard to expect that.
It's first year starting,
yeah,
and on some of the biggest stages possible.
And the offensive line did him a disservice by doing what they did. And Ryan Day did a disservice because the right guard was struggling in that first half so much. He should have made that switch sooner because in the second half, when you took that right guard out and put the next guy in, guess what? Our offensive line actually did well, and they actually blocked for him, and he was able to make some plays. And that was with our left tackle getting hurt in the second half. Didn't even play, but our backup for him played great.
I'll be honest, Ryan Day don't make great decisions.
I think Ryan Day last year, when I get it, he was able to get more input on the plays and everything, but he let Chip Kelly go out there and make play calls. When Ryan Day gets to call, see the whole game and do what he has to do there, I think you have a better Ryan Day when he doesn't have to go and be the offense coordinator. I think that's what last year showed. He took over the play calling again this year, and he missed something. There were things that he was slow to do that I think he'd be faster.
Overall coach,
right?
He's getting every facet of the game at the same pace compared to when he's calling plays.
He has to put his head in the play sheet.
So he's not getting everything
right.
Compared to he can sit back, be a little more analytical about his choices and decisions,
and read the whole game,
and then get input from other people who are. Like maybe on the offensive side, you can get input from his offensive guy. He's watching the offense, just that's what he's doing.
Again, he's
your defensive guy. Mm-hmm. Of your defensive guy is just watching the defense.
Yeah,
it makes him to where he can just be the mastermind, the puppeteer. Would be a great way to say it.
Yeah,
he can be the puppeteer of I just need to control what's happening.
Mm-hmm. In the moment, I get to say in the moment. Let some other guys call the plays. And I think you got a better Ryan Day, and he got to have his input in the offense in the playoff run and get to be more a part of it. But guess what? When it's game day, you get to manage the game. You don't have to manage the offense.
Yeah.
And that's the thing where I think you need to get a real offense coordinator back in the seat that he can hand the controls over to and say, I will have input throughout the week. And at the end of the day, he'll have veto power when something he really wants to get called, just like Urban Meyer did. Urban, when it was time to run quarterback power to the right with JT Barrett, he had his moments where he was like, no, we're running JT right now. And that Ryan Day can do that. But him having to call the plays, play in and play out, I think takes away from him as a head coach, which is what he proved last year.
I agree.
When you had somebody else, Chip Kelly, in there calling the plays, you won a national championship. I think you need to go back to that.
I guess I've never seen it from that point of view, but no, I like that.
Again, the offense had their issues when he was supposed to have more control because he had to focus so much on it that he's not reading the game how he needs to.
He's not seeing everything.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's one thing we've learned from this whole scenario that, and you know what they say, the rumor guy that might be going after? Brian Daboll. Because no team is going to hire him right now to be their head coach or anything. So imagine he can come to Ohio State for a year or two, rehab his image again, just like Nick Saban used to do.
Would produce quarterbacks like fucking.
And
crazy.
he coaches quarterbacks very good.
Y'all would be sending them motherfuckers straight to the NFL.
So think about him coming to run the offense. He knows how to do that.
He does.
It's just being the head coach he wasn't great at.
So was he not great at being the head coach, or was he? Hey, why the fuck are you running Jackson Dart 13 times a game?
I think he only did that when he said, "Hey, my job depends on it."
Again, I don't think it depended on it that hard. It's just
he wasn't doing that with Josh Allen. He turned him into a passer, not a runner.
Yeah, but that's here's
when
the
he was just the offensive coordinator.
Here's the difference: Josh Allen can boom the ball 55 yards without fail.
Yep.
Jackson Dart may not hit that throw from 25.
True.
So there's a difference of Jackson Dart was their only offensive option after Scatterboo got hurt.
Right.
But how do you have a dude go on concussion protocol on Sunday and you play again on Thursday and that nigga's back Thursday?
That is true. Yes.
You run him, he gets concussed again. He was concussed 4 times this year.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
And Daboll's like, nah, power right.
Yeah, no question.
Line your ass up.
Again, his job depended on it. But again, as an OC, that's not his decision to make. Ryan Day gets to come in and tell him, hey, no, we're not doing that. Yes. So that's why I think Ryan Day needs to learn from this whole thing.
I would like a Daboll as my head coach.
You can't run with Joe Burrow, so you might have to.
You're right.
And I think actually, we'll get to that later. I think I might have the perfect coach for you. Okay. The perfect coach. And then all I have left to really talk about on this team is Julian Sand. I already mentioned him. Bo Jackson ran the football fine. It wasn't, again, they couldn't run the football effectively because Miami was just so fresh on the defensive line. And they really did cause a lot of problems for our offensive line, like I said, in the first half. The second half, Ohio State managed to get some things together and really kind of like get the offense moving. They were actually running the football for a few chunks.
But I think
it wasn't enough.
It was just too little too late.
Yeah. One thing Ohio State didn't do, they didn't do nearly enough tempo. And they haven't done tempo at all this year. And then Ryan Day kept saying, when it's time to turn it on, we'll turn it on. When it's time to like put pedal to the metal, we will. And sometimes it's harder for you to do that when you don't do it all year long. And I feel like when they did do it, which they tried to do it in the second half, and it worked to pretty decent affection, because here's the thing. When you are teams of like amount of talent, you're going to be dealing with less, like, in the second half, when the Georgia and Ole Miss game, there were 7 possessions for each of those teams in the second half. In the full game for Ohio State and Miami, Ohio State only had like 10 possessions. So all of that being like, I just think Ohio State, if they would have ran a lot more tempo, even against that defense, would have got their defense tired, and they would have been a lot more effective, like they started doing in the second half. I feel like Ohio State would have went to that sooner. It would have definitely helped, because it would have tired out the defensive line, which was what was killing us the most. Jeremiah Smith came to play. There's, like, again, I had that one complaint about Jeremiah, but otherwise he was awesome. He had 7 catches for 157 yards and a touchdown. He showed up. He did what he had to do. Carnell Tate, he made his plays when he had to, but he wasn't as explosive as I thought he'd be. But I think that they went, like, I just feel like it was just the way the offense was rolling. I don't think it was actually because of him. Brandon Ennis had a couple catches for 34 yards. C.J. Donaldson got some catches. Will Kazmarek. But at the end of the day, like I said, I think Ryan Day needs to learn some lessons from how this game was played. I think the offensive line had so much trouble in the first half, got better in the second half. But again, you waste a half of football, and those possessions you wasted for not doing what you need to do. And I just think, all in all, that when our offensive line needs to get better, our defense line needs to get better. We're going to have a lot of pieces leaving this team defensively coming out of it. And then now the transfer portal is open, so there's a lot of players leaving. Jace, I'm going to tell you this. I don't know if there's anything to it, but somebody that is pretty well sourced in Florida is talking about Jeremiah Smith potentially hitting the portal. But this is coming out of Florida, so who knows what information is going around there. But I think as Ohio State, I don't think they should get outbid for Jeremiah Smith. You pay what you need to for Jeremiah, and then you deal with everything else later, because you need to keep him on this team. He's that guy. He's done everything you need him to do. I just think that you may not be able to sit there and keep getting discounts on these dudes because you don't have Brian Hartline as your wide receivers coach anymore, which they have hired a new guy. It was I'm forgetting his name. It's Chad. I forget the guy's name, but he was the wide receiver coach at LSU for the past 4 years. So I just think all in all that Ohio State needs to learn from this. I think Ohio State needs to go after it in the portal. And I think at the end of the day, do you know what's the worst part about it? Is that we did not get beaten in a way that made me think that we were not a good enough team. Mm-hmm. We had our moments in this game where if different decisions were made, and if Ryan Day would been better from this get-go and had our offense ready to go in this game, and if Julian Say would have made a couple different decisions, we would have won this game and won it going away. But it didn't happen that way. And here's the thing. College football is going to be a lot like the NFL nowadays. And guess what? Something in the NFL that's happens. There's a lot more parity. And the fact that the Kansas City got to dominate the NFL like they did for the past 3 or 4 years was an aberration. And for the most part, it's going to be 1-year deals where some of these teams kind of get hot at the right time and they make their runs. There is no Nick Saban-like domination of college football going to be happening anymore. Not only because of how the playoff is, but how the transfer portal is. And not any of these teams can build the 5-6 layers of depth when it comes to players and having 4 and 5 stars just sitting on the bench waiting their turn. That's not going to happen anymore. So now the college football is going to be a lot like the NFL, and I think some fans do need to get the idea of that. And even me, I've talked about how Ryan Day can become the next Nick Saban, but even that is it's not based in reality, based on how college football is now. So I think there is some lessons to be learned by Ryan Day and the coaching staff. Get yourself an offense coordinator. Go get some guys in the portal to help replenish your team. Make sure you keep Jeremiah Smith at all fucking costs. If he leaves the team, it's not like I'm going to go with him wherever he goes. But I do say that you need to make sure that happens or I'm going to be very upset because Jeremiah Smith, he has 1 more year and then he gets to go off to the NFL. Make sure we get to have him all 3 years. And I just think that going into next year, and here's something I told Fonzo, our stepfather, that coming into this year, I did not expect Ohio State to go back-to-back. Ohio State played good enough and their defense was dominant enough and Julian Sand was better than I ever thought he was going to be. They played themselves into thinking that I thought they had a chance to go back-to-back. Mm-hmm. So now that everything has happened and it's ended to where I'm not as happy. Again, I'm disappointed but not devastated. That's kind of the saying I've been going with the last couple of days. But here's the thing. The plan for a lot of Ohio State fans was beat Michigan this year, make it to the playoff, and doesn't really matter. But guess what? That's really what happened. And now you get to go into next year where everybody thought 2026 was truly going to be another year where they really had a chance to go after it. Mm-hmm. You now have your opportunity, and I think Ohio State has that in front of them. But this loss to Miami you have to learn from, because the loss to Miami looked a lot like the loss to Indiana you just took a couple weeks ago, and it looked a lot like the Texas game. But again, even that, I think offensively, Julian Sam was a different quarterback than what he is now, which I think is why Ohio State's offense kind of struggled in that game in comparison. But these last two games, you need to learn a lesson from that. I think Ryan Day will. Just get yourself a real play caller, man. That's what really needs to happen. And just keep your guys on the roster and just let's go after it next year. And that'll be another chance to win the national title. And that's all I got on Ohio State. Do you have any jokes you'd like to make before we go off to the NFL?
No, I'm cool.
Oh, and our fucking kicker. I forgot the one thing. I'm forgetting his name. I need to remember his name. OSU. I make sure it's Jaden Fielding. He has been a thorn in the side of Ohio State fans for the past 4 years. This is the same kicker that lost us the game against Georgia, wide left, in a chance to kick the field goal to win that game on New Year's Eve. He missed multiple chip shot field goals last year against Michigan that lost us that game. And 2 nights ago, he missed the field goal at the end of the first half. I think it was like a 41-yard field goal, something like that. It was in the 40s. It wasn't even a big, a long field goal. And he missed it. And for the past 4 years, it has been a long time since I've ever looked at a kicker and been like, I am confident my kicker can make that kick. And this is short. This is long. This is in the middle of the game. This is to end the game and be a big kick. He has not done it. And that is probably the biggest problem that Ryan Day has had in his 10 years as head coach, that he has allowed this dude to stay on our roster, and he has not found anybody else to take over that spot, because that has been a thorn on our side for way too long. And I honestly can make the case that this Jaden Fielding guy has stopped us from winning multiple national championships at this point. And I'm not even counting this year as a year that he's keeping us from winning it. He kept us from winning it back in 2021 against Georgia, where we would have just hit that field goal and then went and destroyed TCU just like Georgia did. And then last year, too. If he would have hit a couple field goals, we would have had a chance to go and be... Now, last year we won the national title. It was another year. But if he would have hit some field goals, we had a chance to win potentially one, if not multiple national titles that we don't have already. So the fact that we have gone so long without a kicker that we can believe in is a big problem, and that sits on Ryan Day's plate, because that is a... If you don't want that to happen, it's not going to happen. And that dude's now being paid to be here. He's been paid to be here the last couple of years. So that makes it even more of a problem that he has been here as long as he has, not hitting field goals, and what's exactly what he's here to fucking do. So what the one caveat, one big thing I could take is that I don't have to deal with him anymore. He has no eligibility left. He is now going away. He's no way he's going to get to the NFL because he's been as bad as he has. But I think that I'm just glad and anybody that's threatened his family or anything is a problem. So don't do that. The guy didn't make his field goal cuts. That's his life. But I just think that overall, I'm glad we get to see him go. And I think Ryan Day needs to go out there and either in the portal or in high school, get multiple guys that you can now have some real hope in that they can go and hit a fucking field goal like some of those kickers that did it yesterday. The Oregon guy had a kicker that hit like multiple field goals in that game without an issue. The freaking Ole Miss kicker last night hit the game-winning field goal from 40. It was like 41 yards from the left hash. It was a hard field goal to make. And guess what? He hit that shit right down the fucking middle. That's what I want. I want a guy I can just believe can hit a chip shot or just a big field goal in a big moment that win us a game. That's what I would like. That's something that Ryan Day needs to learn too. Sorry, I had to make sure to mention him because he's been a thorn on my side for Ohio State fan side for way too long.
You're too prestigious of a school to not have a kicker that can hit those kicks.
There is a line of Australian dudes ready to kick a football that has been waiting for an opportunity. Why haven't you gone and found one of them?
Fuck, go grab some dude off the soccer team.
We got a dude from Ball State to transfer to Ohio State, and we never saw him in a game whatsoever. Imagine if you would have let him kick in some games throughout. Again, here's the trick about it, because this dude we've been having kicking, Jaden Fielding, he had to have been making field goals in practice. But the problem fucking is that we've seen way too many times in an actual game where the score fucking matters, he's not making kicks. So why haven't you let the guys who've been sitting on the bench all year get an opportunity to go show it in a game? Maybe he's on a big practice kicker. Maybe in a game, he can be relied on a little bit more. Maybe if we would have given him those opportunities, we could have had that figured out before the Indiana game and now this game against Miami where they could have helped us out and gave us a chance. Because if you would hit that field goal at the end of the first half, we would have been down 14-3 at halftime, and then Ohio State managed to score those points. We would have ended up being tied by the time Ohio State got done scoring their 14 points in the second half instead of being down 3 instead. So having an actual kicker that we can believe in is a real thing that I think Ohio State fans should be, I'm not going to sit here and say it should be entitled to, but it should not be this fucking hard. It should not be hard. It should not be hard to get a kicker you think can hit a field goal. That's it. In a game that matters. But that's it for college football. I've done my whole thing. And here's my thing. I didn't go as far as to say I guaranteed anything. I never went and said Miami's a terrible team. So I'm not going to sit here and feel terrible that I guaranteed something and it didn't happen. I was confident. I made my picks about it. And I think that Ohio State screwed that over in a way that I think they still belonged in that game. There's only been 2 competitive football games in this whole thing. And especially in the quarterfinals, and Ohio State was in one of those games. I would feel a lot differently if we got blown out. It makes it, actually, I would feel like, oh, we just didn't belong at all. I think that's an even more safe feeling than when you go into it thinking like, oh, we still had a team that can go win the whole thing. So it is what it is. Ohio State's going to go after it. I hope they're going to make the right decisions, and Ryan Day's going to do what he has to do to have them ready to go after it next year. And Julian saying, I just get better. Just get better at everything, and I think you'll be fine. He's already a great quarterback. Just get a little bit of that dog mentality in you, be the calm in the middle of a storm. If you can get that and become a baller and be able to make some big plays and big moments and rise to the occasion rather than a little bit turtling in the way that he has the last couple of games, I think Ohio State could even get to an even higher level than where they were at this year. And I think, again, there's still ways to grow, and I think that they should do that as long as you keep the guys you need to keep. And Jeremiah Smith is at the top of the list. Don't let him fucking leave. Pay him everything he wants. If he wants $10 million, give him $10 million. Whatever he wants, pay the man. There's been nobody that deserves it more at all, ever. It's him. He deserves it. So that's it on college football. So the games that are going to be happening on January 8th and January 9th, so this will be next weekend. You have, middle of next week, I think. Oregon is going to be playing, Oregon and Indiana are going to be playing each other in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl on January 9th at 7:30. Those two teams play against each other. Indiana's a 4-point favorite as of right now. And then you have the Fiesta Bowl. Ole Miss and Miami will be playing each other on January 8th at 7:30. So those are going to be the 2 semifinal games. I hope it's going to be one of the 2 Big Ten teams. Obviously, that's the one side of the ball, one side of the bracket. And I hope Ole Miss goes and beats Miami. Or if Miami does win, I just hope Miami loses to whoever they face in the championship game. Because I just don't need Miami to win a national championship. Their fans are super annoying. And they don't deserve any success because they're not there when their team is down. So it is what it is on that. Don't come and act like when things are going well and act like you've been here the whole time. You weren't. You were out doing something else in Miami because there's so many other things you could do. So that's all I got on that. Ohio State season is over, but our program is not over. There's still a lot to play for. There's still a lot to look forward to. You still have a lot to going into next year, and go after it and go do what you have to do. And I think Ryan Day will learn his lesson and go and do what he has to do. So it is what it is. It's all good. That's where I'm at.
Okay.
Disappointed, not devastated.
Okay. I'm glad.
All right. NFL football now. We're going to go. No NFL games happened this week. There was no Thursday night game. This is all going to the 2 games that are happening tomorrow, and then the rest of the games being on Sunday. There won't be any NFL games on Monday because there's no Monday Night Football. Story-wise, Steelers, T.J. Watt will be playing on Sunday night against the Ravens. That'll be nice. He'll have fresh legs. But whether he'll be able to go out there and make the impact needed for the Steelers to win that game, I have no fucking clue. And I'm not even sure if I want them to or not. I honestly don't know where I sit at this point on that. Did you hear about the Stephon Diggs thing? Mm-hmm. So I talked about this in the last pod. Stephon Diggs, this was a couple weeks ago or whatever. He got into an argument with his chef, a woman, by the way. Uh-huh. That was his chef, and they got into an argument about payment, about her getting paid. Mm-hmm. And she has now filed charges against him for assault and strangulation. because she claims that he kind of attacked her and had her in a chokehold and that she felt like she was going to pass out. And then she posted not posted, but she put it on the, what do they call it? The charges, that there's a picture of like the texting afterwards about all this and all that. And he's actually going to be going in court. And I think they have to have an arraignment here soon. So like the fact that, not an arraignment, you get to go to a hearing going for it. So there is some real juice to this. It's happening. The fact that Stephon Diggs has been in the offseason, he had been doing passing out the pink powder to girls and all that. You thought that he'd kind of turn it around, and he'd been so quiet throughout the year, playing well, being actually really good, the number one wide receiver for the Patriots. And now with all the injuries that they have and him doing this, like if the NFL decides to take action before all the law proceedings happen and they just decide to take him off the field and not let him play, what are the Patriots going to do? This is a team that feels like they are one of the best teams in the AFC. And now if you have a bunch of wide receivers hurt and you don't have Stephon Diggs on your team, if the NFL decides to take action on it, you might be going to the playoffs without any of your weapons outside of Drake May and then a couple running backs. Like that would just for sure hurt their team going into the playoffs. So like that is something that absolutely insane. And apparently their defensive tackle, I think Christian Barmore, also has an assault charge that he has on him as well. So it's just like as great as things have been all year long, there's a couple things that popped up here for Mike Vrabel to kind of have to deal with, and that'll be a whole big thing depending on what the NFL decides to do with those two players having their issues as of right now. Josh Allen had the foot thing coming out of the game last week. He had x-rays for. They said he's expected to start against the Jets. They're going to let him go out there. His foot is good to go, so no injury to deal with there. Vikings are going to start J.J. McCarthy in the season finale. They asked Jay Jettas about he wants J.J. McCarthy to be the quarterback going into next season, and he doesn't say no, but he talks about how there's some bad habits that J.J. McCarthy has that he needs to learn from going into next year, and you can just tell by the look on his face and his posture that he don't give a fuck. He's like, just get me a better quarterback so I can have a good season and we can win. That's all that the dude wants because he couldn't have a good season. He's not like he could have Jamar Chase, where Jamar Chase still had a decent year and they lost games. But for Justin Jefferson, he didn't get his stats and they had a losing season. That's not going to happen with Jay Jettas on your roster, and he's not going to let that happen. So whether it's J.J. McCarthy figure it out or you go get a different quarterback to go and be the guy for you next year, that is something they're going to have to figure out there. And they are saying that Lamar Jackson is practicing. They haven't decided whether he's actually going to play yet on Sunday Night Football against Pittsburgh in a winner takes all, winner goes to the playoffs type of thing. But he is practicing. That is something that he has not been doing recently. So that is another story to have to at least take some stock in going to making these picks. All right. Those are all the stories I wanted to talk about. Let's go ahead and get to the picks here. Overall, our records, I am 148-93-1. Jace is 156-85-1. Last week, we both went 10-6. On the splits, we went 1-1 on the splits, which is why we have the same record. I was good on the San Fran game over Chicago, and you won the Philadelphia game over Buffalo. So those were the two splits that we had. Went 1-1 on those. And that's about it. I don't think you're probably going to win this season record-wise. So it is what it is on that. I'm not going to sit here and try to change the narrative and change it all in 1 week because I had my chances in it and wasn't able to do so. But let's go ahead and get to the games. We're starting with the games that are happening tomorrow. First one being Carolina at Tampa Bay. Games at 4:30. And you know what's funny? That I was saying on the last pod that these two teams are playing each other for the right to go to the playoffs, win the NFC South and get to the playoffs. But if Tampa Bay wins this game, there's still no guarantee that they win the division because they would be, if Tampa Bay wins and then if Atlanta wins their game against New Orleans, they would be in a Atlanta, Tampa Bay, and Carolina would be in a 3-way tie. And then that would trigger the tiebreakers, and Carolina would win the tiebreakers. So even if Tampa Bay wins this game tomorrow, if Atlanta wins their game, Carolina would still get into the playoffs. No matter how that game goes. Again, does it really matter because Tampa Bay had their opportunities and they couldn't get the job done, and they kind of fell apart by the end of the season. Does it really matter how they kind of finish off the season? Probably not if they get to the playoffs or not. I do have to give Baker a little bit of credit. He has been terribly hurt. It's been his non-throwing shoulder, so people aren't going to give him as much credit for, oh, you can still go out there and play, so you should be playing better. But I do think that you have to give him a little bit of solace, a little bit of credit, because he's going to keep playing through injury. You can tell the injury's bothering him, but he's still not playing well. So I'm not going to sit here and try to parse out what the percentage is of what's more to blame, the injury or him just playing bad. But it is what it is. What are you picking in the game? Carolina and Tampa Bay. At Tampa Bay, by the way.
Tampa Bay's been playing kind of bad football right now.
They have. Yes.
But do I want to pick Carolina?
That's a great question. Because
neither
of these two teams are playing good football. Like I told you the other day.
Both the teams below them are playing better football.
Atlanta and New Orleans are playing so much better football right now. So I think neither of these teams probably deserve it. But, it is what it is, how the season has played out. At least they're not playing like it. So who you picking? Carolina, Tampa Bay?
Give me Tampa Bay.
Okay. Think they turn it on for one more game at home?
I think they have to. I think they have to.
I'll go with you on that. It's just gonna be the one time I go and pick Carolina, and then, oh boy, Bryce Young plays terribly again.
I said this during the OSU game. You can remember who the fuck those three players are?
Yeah, I can remember a lot of things.
Fucking randoms.
Yeah.
But you can't remember fucking Joe Burrow mid-podcast.
Yeah, I know. In the podcast, it's always where it goes wonky for me.
Always.
But I'll go Tampa Bay. I think Baker will get it together for at least one game to at least have a good enough game to have a chance to win. Here's the thing. Even if they win, it still doesn't guarantee them a shot in the playoffs. Next game, Seattle at San Fran. This is a big one. They are battling for the right to be the number one overall seed in the NFC.
Hey, real quick.
Winner gets a bye and win the division.
Game of the season? Could you tell me that real quick?
Baltimore and Pittsburgh.
That's the last taste people are going to get of regular season football.
Yeah.
Instead of this game.
You know what they had to do? You know why they did it this way? Because they wanted to have a marquee game on Saturday. Because ESPN does not going to have a Monday Night Football game, and they have both of these games tomorrow, they had to give them one marquee game because it's a partner and you have to do what you got to do. So it was either going to be the Steelers game or it was going to be this game. And apparently ESPN wanted this game.
I would have too. If I'm ESPN, I would be like, oh, fuck, you give me Seattle Niners.
Yeah, because it could just be Pittsburgh getting blown out by the Ravens. So ESPN made a great decision by taking this game. Because I think both of these teams are playing awesome football right now. I think more San Fran than Seattle. I think Seattle's playing a lot. Like, offensively, I hate to say it, Brock Purdy is playing much better football than what Sam Darnold is right now. Sam Darnold's having a little bit of a lull. He's not playing terribly, but he's just not lighting the world on fire like he had been in the middle of the season. So, but it still doesn't matter. Seattle's defense is awesome. Between these two teams, Seattle actually brings a more all-around team because San Fran's defense is cheeks. Again, they're very hurt, but they're cheeks. But they are
all their best players are hurt.
Yes, but it's not good. But this game is in San Fran.
I'm going Seattle.
You're going Seattle. Okay. I'm going to take San Fran. Christian McCaffrey was awesome last week. He didn't start the practicing this week. I think it was just more maintenance to try to make sure he's ready for this game. Brock Purdy's playing a lot better football as of recently. But, again, this is going to be the game where JSN goes off at 300 and Seattle ends up winning the game anyway. But I'll give San Fran some credit here and say that they're playing very good football, and I'll pick them to win this game. And San Fran's at home, too. And they're saying Kittle actually might play this game, so I think that'll be a help for them as well. Next game, New Orleans at Atlanta. Who are you taking? Tyler Shuck playing very good football, by the way. I have to give him his credit. He's
26 years old.
He's 20, but again, started off the year when they finally threw him in by the middle of the year. Did not start great, but he threw for 300 yards last week and played some very decent. Chris Olave won't be playing. He had a blood clot in his lung. So he had to get that operated on, get that fixed, but he won't be playing this week. So they will be without their best wide receiver.
It didn't matter. I was never going to go New Orleans anyhow. So
Atlanta?
Yeah,
Me too. I think Kirko changed.
is key And Kirk Chains, if he's anything, he's pretty consistent.
And he's been playing better as of recently, and he can actually run a little bit on that ruptured Achilles in a way that he couldn't last year. Well, at least now repaired ruptured Achilles. That was a hard thing of words to say in succession. Yeah, it was bad. It was my brain. But I'll take Atlanta to win that game as well. I just think that they're a little more consistent. And if New Orleans doesn't have Chris Olave, I just don't know where the big plays are coming from to kind of keep the defense honest. And Atlanta's defense is playing really good football right now. Next game, Cleveland at Cincinnati. Joe Burrow is playing. Myles Garrett is playing. Myles Garrett's looking for the one sack he needs.
I know, but that's the thing. Marius Mims is hurt.
Yeah?
And that nigga's going to line up on the right. He's lining up on the right. We know he's lining up on the right.
He's going to get a sack. And I think Joe Burrow said it throughout the week, like I told you earlier, was that he's like, hey, I'm not going to worry about it. I'd rather go win a football game, which is what I would have hoped.
Fuck that. Just throw Flacco out for the first drive. You can play the rest. I promise. You'll play the rest of the game.
He's not going to let him do it, man. He's a baller.
And this nigga's going to come through first fucking play and get
no doubt.
Guarantees. Cody Ford.
He had that 21-yard catch last week.
Yeah, but he's a cheeks tackle. He's cheeks. But he's cheap as fuck. And likable.
Yeah.
But he's cheeks. He's a fucking shitty tackle.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
He's a better guard.
Yeah.
But he's a fucking trash tackle. And
I agree.
He's gonna let the sack.
He's gonna get the sack, man. I've accepted it for weeks now.
I know, but it's the fact if he's gonna get the sack and Joe Burrow is gonna rupture his fucking Achilles.
That's what you're worried about. Yeah,
like that's the luck of what it is. And if I'm not gonna lie to you, if he has another major injury like that, we may be seeing he's gonna be like, all right, I gotta stop. Yeah. I can't play no more.
Or as a fan base, you actually might have to start like thinking about like, hey, he's had so many of these. Like what? Like you might have to start thinking of like a real like, hey, what if he decides to? Or if
what's the backup plan?
Or what if the next injury ends it all?
Like what's our backup plan?
Yeah,
because Andrew Luck just up and left the Colts. It was fucking one day. He was like, I'm done.
Yeah, no doubt.
He finished the season. Mm-hmm. One of his first like pretty healthy seasons too.
Yeah,
and he was like, I'm done.
He was so hurt.
He was 30.
Did it in the preseason. He was like done.
He was 30.
I'm done being hurt all the time.
And, bro, all right, yeah.
And that's the thing. These quarterbacks have made a lot of money. Like, that's a decision you can make.
I can't. I'm not going to blame you for it.
Right, yeah.
But fuck. He left the Colts high and dry until this year.
Yeah, no doubt.
This year.
Yeah.
Is when the Colts stopped being bad.
And they still, based off of doing the quarterback carousel thing year after year after year.
It just somehow worked out with Danny Dimes.
And Danny Dimes hit.
He fucking tore his Achilles.
And they had to bring in a 44-year-old to come in and play for a few weeks.
For it to kind of work, and it's kind of pissing me off that he threw as many touchdowns as he did.
Yeah.
I should have seen no touchdown throw by a 44-year-old Phillip Rivers.
That hasn't played in 5 years, by the way.
Exactly.
So, but again.
Real quick, he still looked better than Anthony Richardson would have.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And that's crazy. Like, that's just... And it's a reality that, like, if he goes out there again next year and tears his Achilles or something like that,
yeah,
we may truly be he gets up and comes out to the media one day and be like, hey, I'm done.
Yeah, they're not going to protect me, and then if I don't feel like me doing this work
is going to matter, like
it's going to matter,
win something,
yeah,
I'm done. And Joe Burrow's the type to do that.
Yeah.
Now, is he also the type for me to believe he would retire and come back? Fuck yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, I believe he'd retire from the Bengals for a year, come back the year after.
Yeah, no doubt.
I absolutely believe that. But I don't want to draft a quarterback.
Not this year. All right, not anytime soon.
Like, I don't want to sit there and us draft like a third-round quarterback of this dude, maybe decent, maybe garbage. But just someone to, hey, let's just have you sit on the bench.
Yeah, maybe. But again, I just don't think he's never going to want you to do that because he's like, hey, I'm here. And we should be putting every resource into helping our defense or helping our offensive line. And I totally get it. If he's locked in, then do what you need to do because he is that good of a quarterback to where he should be doing so.
It's starting to feel more and more like he's not locking in. Like he kind of wants to be either out of Cincinnati or he's kind of done.
Yeah, but I think that's also on Cincinnati's plate to make sure to make him feel like he needs to be locked in. That Cincinnati needs to hold up their end of the bargain.
And that's the part.
All in all, I'm picking Cincinnati to win this game because even if Myles Garrett gets his sack record, Guess what Shador's not going to do? He's not go out there and win you the football game.
This is what I'm. That's where I'm.
Shador's been ass. So
Yes.
not been good.
He's dog shit.
He had one touchdown drive last week against the Steelers, but otherwise he did absolutely nothing through those 2 picks. And he didn't do anything. So I'm not going to believe he's going to win them that game. So I'm taking Cincinnati.
No Quinton Judkins, and suddenly he's dog shit because Quinton Judkins was doing all the work.
He helps open up the offense a lot. But again, I think Shador he will be an awesome backup for somebody someday. But as a everyday starting quarterback in the NFL, he's not going to beat you enough. He may be good enough to be in the top 32 quarterbacks that should be starting for a team. But will he ever get you to the point where you think like you can go beat the big boys or do anything really significant with your season? No, he will not be that quarterback for you. So I'm taking Joe Burrow in Cincinnati to figure it out, even once Myles Garrett gets a sack record, because he will do that exactly. He will get it. So you're taking Cincinnati as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Cincinnati it is. Next game. Green Bay at Minnesota. J.J. McCarthy is starting this game, by the way. But you have Green Bay coming in. Are they saying if Jordan Love will play or if it's going to be Malik Willis? Now I got to check. Hold on. Let's see if it's been announced because, again, they have multiple days to figure this out still. As of right now, Jordan Love is going to play. So Jordan Love will play in this game. No Malik Willis, which, again, I think Malik Willis actually played well in that game the other day against who did they play last week? I totally forget. But I think Green Bay, Jordan Love will go out there and play well. Again, Minnesota's going to be terrible.
Now too.
Huh? They picked up Trayvon Diggs?
Yeah.
No. How did I miss that? Did I really miss that news? Green Bay. Did they really?
Yeah.
They did claim him off of waivers. That's
fuck?
crazy.
You missed that?
I totally missed it. Yeah. I totally missed that news. Again, will he play or not? I don't know. But
does it matter?
even if he doesn't play, they'll get to figure out whether he can actually play or not, and then he can come in next year. And if you decide to rework his deal and pay him a little bit less money, and he decides to take that, you can have a really good corner. Again, he'll give up a lot of yards like he always does. But if he can get you a few picks on top of having
I feel like he'd be a great safety.
Maybe.
Since he's so good at reading the quarterback.
Yeah.
He just can't do both.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that.
So in my brain, I'm like, you'd be a great free safety.
Just having to read the eyes and not having to track a running back.
Why don't you move to free safety? I've never understood that. Why don't you move to free safety?
It's that pride, man. Those guys feel like they can be those dudes. Heck, he's been healthy with the Cowboys for a minute now, and they just couldn't. They found for whatever reason couldn't get him on the field.
Again,
and they finally decided to drop him after they have that whole debacle. So
if he just moves to free safety, I think he becomes elite. Who was it? It was Dion, maybe. If he moved from corner to play free safety for his last few years.
Oh, Jalen Ramsey's doing it right now, and he's actually doing a pretty decent job.
It was Charles Woodson.
Woodson was doing it, yes.
Like in his last 2 to 3 years, he switched to playing free safety, and he was like, "Man, this is easy."
Yeah.
He was like, "All I got to do is look at the quarterback." He was got to look at the quarterback and blow up the receivers.
Yeah.
He was like, "Other than that, I ain't got to do nothing."
Yeah.
And he was all pro as a fucking safety in his first 2 years of playing a safety.
Like I said, Ramsey's been doing it this year, and he's actually done a decent job.
He did better than I assumed he would.
Better than I thought he'd ever be, and they're actually blitzing him too, and he's actually a pretty decent blitzer too, and he tackles pretty decently. So,
did you hear when you guys play the Dolphins? Did you hear the mic'd version of Cam Hayward was mic'd up?
No.
You're talking to Minka Fitzpatrick.
No, I didn't hear it.
It was sad.
Oh,
Burr goes, "I wish I was still with you guys."
No, he didn't say that. Oh, that sucks. Again. Apparently he had an issue with how he's being used and all of that, but I don't know. It sucks. I think Minka Fitzpatrick was a really good representation of what the Steelers have been over the last few years. He was a great leader, and it sucked to have seen him go, but it was a change that needed to be made just for the defense in general. Again, the defense didn't end up being much better, but I also think that it was a change that helped them get a few, because again, they had they forced 20-something turnovers this year in a way they didn't do that last year. So I do think that was a necessary change to just give a defense a little bit of a different look. And Ramsey's done very well doing it. So I think all in all, it worked for the Steelers what they were trying to do. It just sucks that we had to send Minka back into a bad situation to make it happen. Because I do respect him as a human and as a player. He's been awesome for the Steelers. And again, even with all this happening, he never talked bad about anybody. He stayed quiet. He said this is disappointing, but it is what it is. And he went out there and played his hardest for Miami, even though Miami as a team was ass. So until last week, where they beat Tampa Bay pretty good. So other than that. But back to your pick. Green Bay, Minnesota. Who are you taking?
Green Bay.
I don't
JJ
believe
McCarthy has given me nothing to believe he can win a football game.
He's been ass. And there's, like you said, no reason to believe. Like, he's not even shown to get better, man. Like, he just can't. And he keeps getting hurt. So not only is he not showing progress as a quarterback, but then he's getting hurt too. So, like, when is he supposed to stay on the field and actually get the reps needed for him to get better, if that's even possible? If he he's going to keep getting hurt the way he has because he's thin. Same thing as the Jaden Daniels thing. But again, the difference with Jaden Daniels is that Daniels showed himself to be a potential top of the league type of quarterback when he was healthy and playing. JJ McCarthy has not done so. So it is what it is. Minnesota's going to be looking for a new quarterback in this offseason. I have no doubt about it. Next game, Dallas going to the New York Giants. This game is gross.
Probably Cowboys, right?
Yeah, neither team has really anything to play for. I think New York's locked in as like a top 5 pick in this upcoming draft.
If they lose, they're number 2.
Yeah.
If they win, they drop, I think, to 4.
So, like, they're a top 5. Again, they don't need a quarterback, so it doesn't really matter.
But staying at 2 is like, hey, who wants this pick?
Yeah, for sure.
It's a
trade pick. It's a trade piece.
This pick?
Yeah.
Compared to you have a Cardinals sitting at 11.
Yeah.
How bad do you want this pick? You need a quarterback.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, like, there's teams sitting in, like, the teens. They're kind of in the Minnesota. Teams in the hunt. I'd be filthy. Sorry.
We're going to look up what the draft
something just
positions?
popped in my head, and I was like, Justin Jefferson on the fucking Giants next to Malik Neighbors would be filthy.
They don't need that.
But how bad does Minnesota want that pick is what popped in my brain.
They're not bad enough that Justin Jefferson's that guy.
Again, it just popped in my brain of, like, that's what the Giants... For pick number 2, that's what the Giants would be asking.
Because here's the thing. The Raiders have their number 1 overall pick.
Again.
And they're taking Mendoza.
Again, for pick number 2.
Maybe Dante Moore says he wants to come out. Maybe that'd be a guy worth trading up for.
I'm just saying.
I get what you're saying.
2, they'd be asking for Justin Jefferson. Maybe Jordan Addison. No, they'd want Justin Jefferson because Neighbors coming off a ACL.
Yeah.
He's young, so
he's young. He'll bounce back fine.
He'll be fine. He may lose some.
The older you get, the worse the ACL injuries now. But if you're young getting those injuries, he's like 21. Like, he's very young, so he'll come back fine.
But again,
he may lose a little bit of burst. But again, he had such a crazy burst already
that now it's just normal.
Yeah, exactly.
Now you're normal. But again, he's so good at everything else.
Yeah, I agree with you.
They would be sitting there and be like, hey, we want Justin Jefferson. Or they'd be like, hey, I want Jordan Addison.
Yeah.
Your first-round pick, and then your next year first-round pick.
I don't think they can get away with that much.
Probably they're both seconds this year and next year.
They'd probably trade first this year and then potentially get seconds or first next year and the year after. It's a whole thing. But I'll take Dallas with you. I just think that Dallas has a lot more to play for. I think they're at least trying to show they're at least a decent football team. And I think losing to the Giants the way they are right now would not be a good look, with Jerry Jones always trying to make the claim that he's going after it every year. So I'll take Dallas, saying that their offense will get enough done against the Giants to win that game. Next game, Tennessee at Jacksonville. Jacksonville it is. Even though I will say Tennessee has like made some good strides and they're playing some decent football as of recently, but it's not enough. Jacksonville's great. Trevor Lawrence, as much as I hate to say it, has really figured some things out, and he's really unlocked his game.
Is quarterback something the Rams are looking at?
Depends on how the season ends. Because if Matthew Stafford goes and wins the Super Bowl this year, he's going to retire. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He will retire because that'll be his Hall of Fame career. It literally locks up his Hall of Fame career if he does that. If not, then maybe he wants to come back for another year because it's a yearly deal now. So who knows how that gets figured out if they don't have the storybook ending that I think Matthew Stafford would like to his career.
Okay. That's good.
Not to mention he's still be coming back to the great offense that he has. Devontae Adams is going to be there still for another couple years. Puka's still an ascending player. And their defense is only getting better.
You say that, and I'm like, it's crazy that NFL has one of their biggest needs as wide receiver. I'm like, that's crazy.
No.
It's O-line, DB, safety, wide receiver, quarterback, and I'm like, I don't, one of those things.
Y'all got Puka and Devontae. They're fine. And Devontae's not – he's not getting any worse anytime soon.
And he's – real quick, all he has to do is be number 2.
Yeah, and he's the number 2, exactly. That's what makes it even crazier. Puka Nacua, if he keeps doing some crazy shit, maybe he might ruin the whole thing for himself. Maybe they might have to get off of him. And maybe they won't want to pay him, which will lead to him leaving. But who knows about that. But yeah, Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence is playing very good right now. The coach that they got from, who was the former offensive coordinator for Baker Mayfield, he's came in and turned them into like a 3-win team last year into being a playoff team that is looking very good right now. And they might actually be a real like live dog in the playoffs. Next game, Indianapolis at Houston. Funny story. Mr. Phillip Rivers will not be playing in this football game. And apparently, in the all-time all-time passing yards, he's like at number 8 right now, and he's like a little over 100 yards behind Ben Roethlisberger. Phillip Rivers. Oh. And he's not playing this week. And they're like, hey, we're just going to give the young guy a shot. It's our last game of the season. The season doesn't matter anymore. We're not going to throw you out there. Because, again, against a very good Houston defense, it's going to get after you. And he will get hurt against that Houston defense. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They get after you, and that defensive line is absolutely insane. And Azeez Al-Shaair is a crazy person. So having him anywhere near a 44-year-old quarterback may not be the way to go. So he's like a little over 100 yards behind Ben, so he could pass him up on the records. And somebody asked him in an interview why he wouldn't want to go out. Asked him about it. And he's like, I wouldn't even want to go after it now because the season's over. There's really no chance to make the playoffs or anything. So I don't want to like cheapen me getting to that milestone off of a game that didn't matter because I'm coming back at 44 years old, 5 years after I already retired. So I just think it'd be better for me just to sit where I'm at. That 100 yards won't matter by the end. By the time it's my time to have the chance to go and get into the Hall of Fame, which I think he probably will he get into the Hall of Fame?
Who?
Phillip Rivers. If we're having doubts about Eli, then there's no fucking way. But again, Phillip Rivers sits he sits very high on a lot of passing records in a way that Eli doesn't. But if we're questioning Eli and Matthew Stafford, there's no fucking way he makes the Hall of Fame. He doesn't have any of the postseason success at all. Like, I think he's won like a couple playoff games throughout his career, but they never really did when he went all that far. I don't think he makes the Hall of Fame. Again, him passing Big Ben on the all-time passing leaders are not going to do it either.
It helps, though.
It would help.
Ask me in like another week to see if Eli gets in.
He's not going to play.
No, to see if Eli gets in.
He's not getting in this year. I can tell you that right now.
He's one of the 15 finalists.
Yes, but he's not getting in. There's no way.
Oh, let me ask you a question. Who do you think is getting in?
I think the only two that are guaranteed is Larry Fitzgerald and Drew Brees. Right. Those are the two that are guaranteed getting in. And
Vinatieri.
Huh? He's a kicker, though.
He's Adam Vinatieri.
There's barely any kickers that get in.
Adam Vinatieri.
It is Adam Vinatieri, but they can make him wait. He's going to get in, but they could make him wait.
He is probably the best kicker of all time. He is the best kicker of all time.
By the way, the running back, Frank Gore, not a Hall of Famer. He was just in the NFL for 20-something years and got a bunch of counting stats. He was never looked at as a top 5 back in the NFL, ever. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer, by the way. I just don't think so. Like, he is like the antithesis of counting stats. Like, he was in the NFL forever.
Kuechly's the one I'm not 100% sure you make it either.
Do you know what Kuechly's stats are?
Huh.
Oh my God. It's actually insane.
They're fire. Fire. What that motherfucker did in 8 years is crazy. It's crazy.
If you compare his achievements as a player, who's the other? There's the former Raven that's on that.
Suggs.
If you compare him to Suggs, Suggs played a lot longer and he's like 7th on the all-time sacks list. But Kuechly
has better overall fucking stats.
He made a Pro Bowl. He was a Pro Bowler in every year he played in the NFL.
Yes. As a fucking rookie,
He was
this
like
motherfucker was up for DPOY.
Yeah.
No, okay. I was on for the phone with my friend. I'm friends. I'm the fucking Ravens fan. Die hard. And I was trying to get somebody on to play Xbox, right? And I was like, hey, bro, like, you think Terrell Suggs really going to make the Hall of Fame?
He will make the Hall of Fame.
He was like, yeah, Terrell Suggs is amazing. And he goes, better than Luke Kuechly. And I was like, whoa.
Oh, people are trying to compare them now because they're both up for the Hall of Fame.
Don't. Luke Kuechly is better.
His peak is higher than Terrell Suggs'
Luke Kuechly just made the same. But that's the thing. He didn't retire on a bad note.
He just made a decision like, hey, I want my long-term life to be different.
Later in life.
Yeah, no question.
Like, he had a concussion problem.
Yeah.
Because, you know,
I agree.
There is probably no other person that can look that quarterback in the face, stop, be like, hey, watch the screen. Watch the screen. And him go out there, pick that bitch off.
Yeah.
He's taking it back for 6. He did some of the most impressive shit of everybody talked about how well Peyton Manning can read a defense. Luke Kuechly knew what play you were calling. I have never seen a motherfucker hear an audible, call out the play, and then go timeout and have to walk off the field because he knew the fucking play.
He had 5 first-team All-Pros.
In 8 years.
And then he had another couple second-team All-Pros as well.
But again, he had 5 in 8 years.
He had as a Defensive Player of the Year. He made 7 Pro Bowls. He made, like, come on, man. Like, he had his peak. His 7-year career was so insane. He's gonna make the NFL. He's gonna make it. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Whether he's a first ballot is a question, but he's gonna make it because those 7 years that he played were the most elite 7 years you could possibly have as a 7-year career.
He was the best linebacker in the NFL for 7 years.
No question. Terrell Suggs gonna make it too. He sits too high on the sack record.
He's great.
He's awesome. But it's just such a peak. It's just like insanely how good Luke Kuechly was.
I can't even call it a peak, bro. He just was.
His whole career, was his peak. Like, that was it.
He was just that good.
Awesome. He was an awesome player.
He was the perfect player.
Mm-hmm.
Good dude off the field.
Mm-hmm.
Great dude. Great dude off the field.
Mm-hmm.
Was up for Walter Payton Man of the Year several times because he was very helpful.
I think they said he won it once too.
He did because he was very helpful of his community.
Yeah.
Done into a bunch of foundations, raised a bunch of money for foundations. And he's still a great dude off the field. This nigga lives in a log. He lives in like a forest, in the woods.
It's not that he's not that out of touch because he coaches coaches middle schoolers with Greg Olson.
Yes.
In Florida.
Yes. But he lives in the bayou. Bayou? That's Louisiana.
Yeah, but say he lives in
the marsh.
Lives in Florida.
Like I was on Instagram because they were talking about it because one of the tackles for the Bengals is also a finalist.
Yeah.
I remember everybody's name. Anderson Wilson.
It is. I think it's like NFL Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Willie Anderson.
Yes.
I had that shit backwards. Willie Anderson. They had popped it up, and I was like, oh, I'm going to check through. And it showed Luke Kuechly, and I went to his Instagram, and I was like, this nigga lives in the middle of nowhere with a fucking fish. And I'm like,
yeah, that's how it goes, man.
What are we doing?
He's doing what he does. He was so good. But yeah, Jacksonville wins. I don't know how we got onto this whole thing. How did we get here? I don't even know.
Matthew Stafford Hall of Fame.
Stafford Hall of. Yep. We started with talking about Indianapolis.
Well, you said if Phillip Rivers and then you were Stafford if he retires and
I was saying if Matthew Stafford's being questioned, him and Eli are being questioned for the Hall of Fame, there's no way Phillip Rivers gets in.
No, not. Eli's a fucking finalist too.
Eli doesn't deserve to be a first ballot, but he will eventually get in because he has the Eli name. He has the Manning name.
He'll get in first ballot.
And he has 2 Super Bowls. Unfortunately, the only playoff games he won was in those 2 runs of the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And again, he did knock off the Patriots twice.
And there it is. That's a
biggie.
That's what you get.
That's a biggie.
You took down Brady.
Twice.
Not once, but twice.
Yeah.
And
he stopped a perfect season.
You did? Real quick. if there's anything, he gets to hold that.
He does get to have that.
You were one of the few people who can walk past Brady and be like, hey, hold my nuts and
Yeah,
keep going.
no doubt.
You may be the GOAT, but you ain't beat me.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
He gets
That's
to
a
hold that.
crazy-ass flex.
He gets to hold it over him
Peyton
forever.
lost to him once in the Super Bowl. So, like, my bad. No, Peyton definitely did.
No,
Not tripping?
they were both in the AFC the whole time, until Brady was at Tampa Bay at the very end. But while they were playing, they were both in the AFC the whole time.
But still, Peyton lost to him in the playoffs then. That's what it was.
Peyton actually has a winning record against Tom Brady in the playoffs, because of his years in Denver, where they beat the Patriots a couple times in the playoffs. So actually, his record against Tom Brady is actually pretty good in the playoffs by comparison to what it was in the regular season.
And as good as Eli's.
Against Brady, yeah, for sure, especially in the big games that they got the win in. But Indianapolis and Houston, that's where we were at. I'm taking Houston, by the way. Houston's defense is still awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
And their offense, if they can just figure out how to play a full 4-quarter game. Last week they did like a first quarter / first half was fine, and the other half was terrible. Get a full game together, and they can really start putting things together. Houston's a very dangerous team. New York Jets at Buffalo. Josh Allen's playing. I'm taking Buffalo.
Jets have nothing to play for, so I'm taking Buffalo.
Yup. Jets are awful, by the way. They're awful offensively, defensively.
Buffalo ain't much better.
I don't know. Again,
They're better than the Jets, but Buffalo's bad.
They're bad because they're supposed to be good. Mm-hmm. And Josh Allen gets them to a certain level to where even at their worst, they're still a playoff team that can practically beat anybody. And that's the part about it that makes it sucks. You're like, oh, you're...
Except in the first 3 quarters.
That's so true. That's been them all year. But again, he's turned it on.
I said
it's worked every time except for the Eagles game.
I said this to 2 people when we were watching the game. I was like, Josh Allen comes back and beats teams the Bills are better than. I was like, he's not going to come back and win this game because they're not better than the Eagles.
Yeah. No.
I was like, the Eagles.
Again, he almost did. He did miss that pass wide open.
Wide open.
He was wide open.
I said it out loud. I was like, the Eagles are a better team. He's not going to come back and beat them.
I don't think the Eagles are much better, though. Their offense is terrible.
But that defense was smothering him.
That Eagles defense is back to being like scary again.
They were suffocating him. And I felt it in my bones. I was like, they come back and beat teams they are better than. They should have been behind.
True, yeah.
They're not better than the Eagles, and that's why they're going to lose. That turned out to be right.
Barely. Barely. All he has to do is hit that 2-point conversion. Like, he was wide open.
He sailed that motherfucker.
He was wide open.
Sailed it.
Back of the end zone.
That was bad.
Again, he was running to his left, but you were a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. You hit that pass.
100 out of 100.
He hits that. You're supposed to, but I think 99 out of 100 he will hit that. But he found the one time he didn't hit it.
It's not even like he missed like slightly.
No, he sailed him badly. It was such a bad.
Bro, you could have floated it to the other side.
But again, after he played terribly for 3 quarters, turned it on, and then just wasn't able to finish it off at the end. But again, against every other team they did that against this year, they managed to do it.
But those teams don't have the Eagles' defense.
Yeah, but here's the problem. In the playoffs in the AFC, is there a quarterback left that'll actually shut the fucking door on him? Even though there's teams that are better than the Bills, are they going to look at Josh Allen turning into Superman on the other side and be like, I'm going to put my nutsack on the table and finish this off? I don't think I believe in I can totally believe in any of the quarterbacks left.
I don't believe in any of the quarterbacks. He faced that Houston defense.
Houston has had him figured out for sure. Houston's defense is very good.
They got him down pat.
They do.
And they gonna fuck his shit up.
Yeah, but again, Josh Allen's done it to everybody but Mahomes and Burrow. Like those are 2 teams he has done it against. Everybody else, he has managed to do it in the playoffs against, and it's going to take one of these quarterbacks to figure it out and do the thing.
If this nigga loses, like if he doesn't at minimum make a Super Bowl,
this is his best chance.
They go fuck. He's going to be chastised until the other time. If you don't even make a Super Bowl this year,
yeah.
Like, there's no one in the AFC to stop you.
You are the best player left in the AFC in the playoffs. You are the best player left.
Lamar is playing like dog shit.
Yeah.
The Bengals are out. Mahomes is hurt. If you can't fucking figure this out,
you're like, when are you going to have this type of opportunity ever again?
You're not.
You're not.
But that's the only other thing is there's 3 teams that you do not want to meet in the playoffs from the NFC. Because, 1, you clearly couldn't beat the Eagles. 2, the Bills cannot beat the Rams.
No.
I know for a fact you are not.
Nope, not this year. Not this year. Especially once they have Devontae back.
Also, I know no other running back that fumbles the ball as much as James Cook.
Yeah, he does
to
have a
be as
fumbling
high
problem.
talented
He's so
as
good.
he is, he fumbles that ball once a game.
He's going to win the rushing title this year, by the way. He's going to have the most rushing yards in the NFL this
and
year.
I think he has the most fumbles as well.
Yeah,
he's coughing that bitch up.
I will say, Mr. Derrick Henry also has a fumbling issue as well.
Derrick Henry's 34.
But again, he does have a real fumbling issue.
Okay, again, Derrick Henry's 34.
Yeah.
And he's just this year, he started coughing that bitch up.
He's not 34. He's like 31, 32.
Still, he's 30 and he's a running back.
But again, as a running back, that's still pretty old.
You might as well be 60.
Yeah, for sure. I got you.
But again, James Cook, I guarantee you once a game, he's coughing that bitch up.
No doubt.
He gets it back pretty often.
And I will also say that if Josh Allen ain't doing the job, like, he's not going to put the whole team on his back and do the thing by himself.
He can't start making mistakes.
Like, James Cook's not that type of running back. Like, I was thinking about James Cook. If Josh Allen isn't being Superman and he's playing terribly, James Cook's not going to be able to put the whole team on his back and finish the game off. It's not.
I think there's
Josh Allen has to at least be playing mediocre in order for James Cook to do his thing.
Backs in the NFL like that right now.
Derrick Henry, like when he turned it on last week against the Packers, he won that game by himself. He had over 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. He still has that in him. Do I think he could do that every week? No, not at his age, but he still has that in him.
There's times where I look at him.
Bijan, by the way, if Bijan doesn't get to the playoffs soon, they would have wasted him because, oh my God, watching him run from 195, again, they should have gave him one more running play to get him to get to 200. Adrian Peterson brought this up, and I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. They probably should have let him get to 200 because he had that great of a night. If they don't get him to the playoffs sometime soon, they would have wasted him because he is awesome. To see him play in the big stage in the playoffs, he would destroy teams. Like he'd be so great.
He's a cheat code on Madden.
Oh my God, Bijan, so good.
Him on college football.
Insanely good. Yeah.
Straight 99 over. I remember pulling it back and I was like, I wonder how good this is. I played it online.
Yeah.
Didn't even throw the ball. That ball did not go in the air. I ran 5 screens.
Next game, Detroit, Chicago.
Ooh, Chicago.
I'm taking Chicago as well. I just think that Detroit doesn't really have much to play for left. I think they will play tough. They will do what they have to do, but their defense is going to get shredded.
Dog shit, dude. Their defense is dog shit.
But Chicago's defense is dog shit too.
True.
But it's going to be a lot of points scored. But I just think Chicago will be able to control the football a little bit more.
Can make a play.
They're really good at forcing turnovers.
They can make, like I said, they can make a play.
But
they just need to make one.
Yeah.
One turnover.
And they can run the football a lot better than Detroit right now.
Suddenly, fucking DeAndre Swift knows how to run the football now. He bounced around the league for like 4 years.
Yeah.
Like, he couldn't run the ball with the Eagles. And suddenly he just figured it out with Chicago Bears.
Again, Ben Johnson, he just knows how to get running backs the ball. Yes. Chicago wins that game. I think they can run the football a little bit better than Detroit right now. Jameer Gibbs is awesome too.
Can throw the team on his back.
He can, yes.
That was the other one.
He's that electric of a back. He's awesome.
Did David Montgomery is the one that wants to trade?
They didn't say he wants to trade, but they're saying. But after the last game they played at home, he kind of he was on a post on Instagram or something like that, thanking Lions fans, talking about how great it's been, and I'm like, maybe it might be time.
Do you want to come be a
Bengal? Let's go to the next game. Chargers at Denver. No, Chargers not playing Herbo. They're going to let him rest.
Denver.
I'm taking Denver as well, especially since they still have a chance. They win this game, they win the number 1 overall seed. So Denver has a lot to play for. They're at home. No Herbo. I think it's a good decision, though, because the Chargers have really nothing to play for. They're locked in as a 5, 6, or 7. So getting Herbo that extra chance of rest is the best way to go. He's been going through so much. He's been getting sacked a lot. His offensive tackles are ass.
I've never seen a nigga break his hand and then throw a stiff arm.
He's so.
That same hand.
He's been a good soldier. He deserves this week of rest. But yeah, Denver wins that game, even if old boy Bo Nix has not been playing well at all as of recently, and that's why I can't believe in Denver, even though they have everything else. Great defense, lockdown corner. They have a good running game. RJ Harvey, even without having why am I forgetting the other running back's name from the Steelers? They had him as a back, go from the Steelers to Najee. They had Najee as a running back at one point, and wasn't Najee. Yeah, it was Najee. I had it right. No, Najee was with the Chargers.
He's with the Chargers.
J.K. Dobbins. They had J.K. on their No. What running back do they have in their roster that got hurt?
Who?
For Denver.
It's not a Steelers back.
It was not. No. That was he's from the Chargers. They had a different. I think it was J.K. Dobbins.
I don't know.
He started there, got hurt in the middle of the season, and then now it's just RJ. It was J.K. Dobbins.
Why the fuck would I follow the Broncos?
I don't know. It was just I just had the thought in my brain. But R.J. Harvey's running the football fairly well. They have everything else, but Bo Nix, I just can't trust him on a down and down out basis. Next game, Kansas City at Las Vegas. This game is so I'm taking Kansas City.
I'm taking Kansas City. Vegas is trying to keep that number one overall pick by any means necessary.
And I will not watch this game because they will make it another game. This might be Travis Kelce's final game. Because last game they were like, this might be Travis Kelce's last game at home in Arrowhead. And I'm sitting there like, he hasn't even said that he's retiring. So, again, the game was ass. There's nothing else to do, so that's all they wanted to talk about. But the dude hasn't even said that. He could just decide if Pat Mahomes is healthy and ready to go for week 1. He might say, I want to do it again with Pat. So, like, doing all of this charade, if he hasn't actually said he's going to retire, is just fucking annoying as fuck. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to hear it. So, I'm not going to watch this game at all because the game's going to be ass. But I'm taking Kansas City to win the game because Las Vegas is gross. Next game, Arizona at the Rams. I'm taking the Rams. I think even without Devontae Adams, they can
still be fine.
Again, it's just I know Matthew Stafford had a bad week last week, throwing all those picks where they lost that game, but I just think he's not going to do that 2 weeks in a row. And their road is a lot harder. They're going to be going on the road all playoffs, but I just think that they're going to figure it out enough. And not to mention, he still potentially has a chance to win the MVP, even though I think he might have fumbled it last week, especially with Drake May throwing 5 touchdowns last week. He might have fumbled the bag, but I think there's still enough for him to go out there and at least try to put up another good game, so try to like seal it if there is a chance for him to do so.
An MVP in a Super Bowl is easy retire.
Yeah, easy retire, Hall of Fame career, be easy. But yeah, I'll take the Rams, win that game. Arizona, they put Marv on IR because apparently a foot issue. They said he's been back the last 2 weeks, but he's done absolutely nothing. I think he's been hurt this whole time and tried to play, but they just got nothing left. They need a quarterback. I think they need to reset that team pretty much for the most part. Next game, Miami at New England. Taking New England. Miami again. Mr. Quinn Ewers played fine last week. He played fine. He looked like he had a little bit of juice to him. So if there's a chance that the Dolphins don't find a quarterback they love in this year's draft, they could just run it with Quinn Ewers next year and see if he can turn into something. Because I think he's shown enough. But again, I just think they need to exhaust all opportunities to go find their quarterback. But in this game against New England, even without some of the hurt players that they have, Drake May is going to throw a couple touchdowns to some randoms, and they're going to win this game without much of an issue. Again, Stephon Diggs apparently is still playing as of right now. He has not been taken off the field or anything, so that is something that's going to be had to look at. But as of right now, New England's going to win that game. Washington at Philly. It's Philly.
Some dog shit slate.
It is because again, most of these teams have they're not playing most of their guys though. Philly.
Does it matter?
It really doesn't. No, I think.
Okay, not playing most of their guys means we're just watching backups who are good enough to starters.
Tanner McKee is going to be their starting quarterback in this game.
But then Mariota.
Is Mariota even? He's out. He's not even playing. It's about to be. It's the one guy. I'm forgetting the guy's name.
Real quick, you knew Tanner McKee, and so did I, so I think we're cool picking Philadelphia.
Josh Johnson.
I'm cool picking Philadelphia.
Yeah, me too.
Real quick, he must be a fucking fazant at staying on teams. Now it's a 16-year career.
Yeah, he's been in the league for a long time, and
stay on teams as either a backup or a third stringer.
Yeah, no doubt. He's probably made a decent amount of money doing so too.
That's what I think. I think he's cheap. Cool with taking like a league minimum,
yeah.
And league minimum's a couple $100,000.
Yeah, no doubt.
He's probably one of those guys. I'm just gonna sit back and invest in other things.
Yeah, no doubt.
I don't actually play quarterback. I sit here in New Jersey.
Again, he's been playing the last couple of weeks, but he didn't look great last week. So I'm gonna take Philly even with all their backups playing. Now, last but not least, we have Baltimore going to Pittsburgh. This game is win, you're into the playoffs. You know, TJ Watt's playing. They're saying Lamar probably will play. Let me make sure. They haven't listed him as out.
Darnell Washington's arm, dude.
Darnell Washington's arm, he's not playing. it wasn't pretty to look at. Lamar Jackson is, as of right now, he's going to play. Humphrey's questionable. He's probably not going to play in this game. Rashad Bateman's questionable. They say he might play. Darnell's out.
Give me the Steelers.
DK Metcalf's not playing. Still not playing because of his. Yeah, you didn't know that? He got suspended for those 2 weeks because of messing with the fan in the stands. So he's not playing in this game. And Calvin Austin's playing. So I don't know. I honestly can go either way with this game. I don't really think Pittsburgh's going to win. I think Baltimore is going to run the football with Derrick Henry, and he's just going to run our asses to the ground. Even though I know we know how to stop the run, I just go ahead and choose. I'm going to match whatever you pick because I have no confidence in anything. I really do think we're going to lose this game. But if you think Pittsburgh might win, they actually might. I don't know because they like ruining this for me where I'm ready to be done with the team. I'm ready to be done for the season. And they're gonna make me have to pick. They're gonna make me have to watch them play a playoff game to go get their asses beat and have a worse draft pick. Why? Because that would be the thing that caused me the most pain.
No, that's the most likely thing the Steelers would do because it would cause you the most pain.
Yeah.
Not because I think it would cause. I think so. That's gonna cause you the most pain. It's realistically.
That's what'll happen.
They're gonna do.
Yeah, they're gonna figure it out and then go get their asses beat in the playoffs.
Yeah. I've seen this story 100 times of it's what they're going to do.
Every time I'm ready to give up, they pull me back in. And now I have to watch them play an extra game.
It's going to be a lights out game. They're going to put the Ravens down.
Again, it's going to be a lot harder without DK, though, because they have no down-the-field threat at all.
Again, they're going to put them down handily for no fucking reason. They're not supposed to.
Yeah.
Like they've done it before. We watched them do it to the Bengals like 3 years ago. They put the Bengals down for no fucking reason. The Steelers were not a playoff team. Just get the playoffs, get bounced by like 14.
We're either going to have to play Houston or Buffalo in the first round, and we're going to get our asses beat by both teams.
Y'all stupid asses would beat Buffalo somehow. Y'all dumb asses would beat Buffalo somehow and get on to the second round. Y'all would do some shit like that.
They're going to force me to have to watch them play real football, and they're going to get their asses beat. They're gonna force me to do this.
Real quick, if you guys play Buffalo, I might take the money line for Pittsburgh to win that.
God,
y'all would find a way to beat Buffalo.
I can't do it. I just want the season to be over. Like I really do. I'm ready for the season to be over. I'm done. I'm done with this team.
Since week 3.
I know. Again, I know I'm being a little bitch by complaining the way I am.
Football ended for me in fucking when does football start?
September.
Football ended me in September.
End of September, so it was more like October when he got hurt.
Football ended for me in probably like October 13th.
Yeah, no, for sure. I get what you're saying. I do. I'm just like, I'm done on the season. I just don't want to see them because they're just going to keep playing these extra games. And I'm like, I just know the season's never going to end in the Super Bowl. So what the fuck we doing? We're just going to get blown out by somebody eventually. I'd rather the Ravens just put me out of my misery. That's where I'm at. But, it is what it is. All right, that's where we're at. That's all the games we had to pick. We talked about the college football thing, unfortunately. We've had a long day today. We have another long day tomorrow because Jason's a lot more moving to do, and I will have to help. So let's go ahead in this podcast now and get out of here. So if you've been listening for a while, we appreciate you. If you're just now jumping on, hopefully you like us and enjoy us enough to join us on this ride to talk about sports in the dumbest way possible. And if you do like us and enjoy us, we would appreciate if you could like our podcast, subscribe to the podcast, and rate the podcast 5 stars wherever you listen to us. We're pretty much available on all audio platforms out there. If you do that, you also would appreciate if you could share us with friends, family, enemies, anybody you feel like could enjoy the podcast we put out on a weekly basis, with it being 2 times a week during football season. We would love if you can do that. And then last but not least, if you could follow us on Twitter and or X, whatever you'd like to call it, at JB Sports Pod is the podcast handle, at Javante Boozer is my handle, and at Jace Boozer 1 is Jace's handle. So, and I will go ahead and hand it over to Jace, and he can finish off the pod.
This has been the JB Sports Podcast. Thank you guys for listening. You guys are always listening. You guys have a nice day and a nice night. Goodbye, y'all.
Bye, y'all. See y'all next week.